I welcome you to this session of ISO 9001 2015, and today we are going to talk about clause number 7.5.3.2. This comes under clause 7.5.3, control of documented information, and today we are going to discuss clause number 7.5.3.2, which talks about what we are supposed to address for controlling the documentation. So first of all, I'll read out the requirement to you as given in the standard. Clause 7.5.3.2, the control of documented information. For the control of documented information, the organization shall address the following activities as applicable. A. Distribution, access, retrieval and use. B. Storage and preservation, including preservation of legibility. C. Control of changes, for example, version control. And D. Retention of disposition. And further on, it says, documented information of external origin determined by the organization to be necessary for the planning and operation of the quality management system shall be identified as appropriate and be controlled. Documented information retained as evidence of conformity shall be protected from unintended alterations. And there is a note underneath. Note says, access can imply a decision regarding the permission to view the documented information only, or permission and authority to view and change the documented information. So this is all in this clause 7.5.3, and let us discuss the requirement in detail. Now here, for the control of documented information, we discussed the initial aspects under clause 7.5.3.1 and 7.5.3.2, which we are talking of now. It talks about what we are supposed to address, what activities we are supposed to address uh, for control of documented information. So A is distribution, access, retrieval and use. That means somebody has to take care that the documented information which has been prepared, how it will be distributed. And normally it is the system coordinator who controls this aspect. And access, who all will have access to this information. And retrieval, who can retrieve the information and use it. So these aspects are predetermined and documented and normally controlled by the system coordinator. Now B is storage and preservation. How we store the documented information in the form of procedure may be issued to the individual who is working on that procedure or working on that operation, and including preservation and legibility. And the work instructions are normally put on board or somewhere near the operator, and we have to take care that the work instruction remains legible, or even the procedures whatever we have issued, they remain legible. With very long use they may become illegible, and therefore we have to take care that they are clear and not dirty, and they are legible, they are readable. So this aspect we have to uh, take care uh, while people are using this documented information. And C is control of changes. See, in case this documented information, it could be in any form, in the form of a procedure or in the form of a manual, or maybe the organization chart or roles and responsibilities of the people, or maybe work instruction, whatever is the documented information, or even the records, whatever is the documented information, nobody is supposed to make any changes to it. Whatever changes are to be made, they are to be made in a controlled manner by only the authorized people. So only the authorized people can make changes to the documented information. This has to be taken care. And normally it is the person who has originally written down this documented information. Normally he is the person who is authorized by the system coordinator to make the changes if any changes are requested or if they are necessary. And D is retention and distribution. And how long the retention period is going to be there, particularly for the records. So there are certain records which have legal aspects involved, and their retention period is going to be um, controlled uh, according to the legal requirement. And the other normal um, records or the system documents, they are supposed to be preserved for a period of at least 3 years. Why 3 years? Because normally the certification by the certification body is given for a period of 3 years, and therefore minimum for a period of 3 years this documented information should be available. So that is how we decide the retention period. And disposal, ultimately if any old or obsolete documents are there, they need to be disposed of. So in what manner we are going to dispose them of, and whose permission will be required, and what will be the method of disposal, that has to be also taken care and documented. Normally it is done by the system coordinator. So this is a very important aspect. Now we go to the further requirement, documented information of external origin. See, apart from whatever documentation we create for use within the organization as part of the quality management system or as part of the requirement of the standard, that in any case we are supposed to control. But apart from that, there is lot of documentation of external origin. For example, IS standards or international standards which our people are referring. So those things are, or even the legal requirements, those things are of external origin which come to us from outside our organization. So such documented information has to be identified, and it has to be periodically updated. We have to check whether there is any latest updated version of the information or not, and if there is any latest updated version of the information, we have to acquire that, and obsolete copies must be discarded. So there has to be a mechanism in place that periodically we check this kind of information. External information must be checked periodically, so that as and when it is available, and periodicity maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. It depends on what system you have in place. And normally, I have seen that in the systems, people put the period as 6 months. So every 6 months, the documented information of external origin is checked for its version, whether there is any change in that, then the latest updated version is procured or obtained, and the previous version is made obsolete and maintained or discarded as per the decision of the system coordinator. Now, uh, these things, external documents, they are identified and also controlled. So both the aspects we have to take care. Now, documented information retained as evidence of conformity. That means the records, they need to be protected from any alterations or any changes. Nobody is supposed to, once a record is prepared and approved by the competent authority, then nobody is supposed to make any changes in that record. So we have to safeguard it, and it must remain in the safe custody with the appropriate authority, and that authority has to make sure that no unauthorized changes are made to the records, which are also documented information, and they are the evidence of conformity, that we have, that our system is conforming to the international standard, and that the way and the style of our working and the way of our working is also conforming to the documented procedure or the documented information which we have uh, provided to the people for working. Now there is a note under this that access can imply, as we say, that we are authorizing some people for access to the records or access to the documented information. The access can imply that it may be permission to view the information. That means view the documented information. It could be procedures or work instructions or system documentation, or it could be records, or there can also be an authorization not only for viewing but also making changes to the documented information. So that authorization has to be there in case any changes are to be made to the documented information. Then the authorized people only can carry out those changes. See, there is normally a system that if somebody wants a change in the documented system, documented information, he makes a request that this change is necessary. And normally this request goes to the system coordinator, and the system coordinator forwards it to the person who has originally written down the documents, and it goes there, and he verifies and checks whether that change is necessary or not, because he is the author of the that document, so he is the most knowledgeable person, and that is why he was authorized to write down that documentation, and therefore he takes a decision whether the request received is valid or not valid. If it is not valid, he may return the request and say there is no necessity to make any changes according to the request received by us, or make changes and then provide the changed documentation through the system coordinator to the user. So that is how it is done and controlled. I hope you have understood the requirement well, and if there is anything which is not clear to you, please give your comment below this video, and I will clarify it to you whatever point is not clear to you. And please do subscribe to my channel and also press the bell icon, so that as and when I load the next video, the information should reach you without any delay. And if you are liking my videos, please do give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and also share the videos with your friends and colleagues. I will feel very happy if you do so. So thank you all very much for participating in this discussion. and we meet again next week over the next topic, and probably clause number 8 is the next clause that we are going to discuss. And before that, I may put some formats for you for reference, so please be on the lookout whether clause 8 is discussed first or the formats are provided to you. So thank you very much for watching, and see you again next week. Bye.